Hey folks, this is Kalani. With patch 10.2 finally in our hands and season 3 right around the corner, we're going to have so many different options for gearing up, but one of the easiest and most solo player friendly options is going to be crafted gear. There's a new kind of spark to collect, the Spark of Dreams, which lets you create new crafted gear at way higher item levels when compared to season 2. Some aspects of how the sparks work are similar to season 2, but we'll also have much easier access to the higher tiers of crests, which will allow everyone to upgrade their crafted gear even further. So we're going to go through everything you need to know about the Spark of Dreams and how you can use them to get some very easy item level 463 gear that can be upgraded all the way to item level 486. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. Now I know there are a lot of folks who are returning to the game for 10.2 who may not have played during patch 10.1 or even during Dragonflight at all, so we're going to go through the entire process of getting a spark and turning it into a piece of gear just to make sure everyone understands exactly how this works. So our new spark for this season is called the Spark of Dreams. These sparks are the main requirement for crafting higher item level gear, and you can use them to get up to item level 486 gear eventually, so there are some huge upgrades to work towards here and you can massively increase your item level. The best part is that this crafted gear is a very reliable source of easy high item level gear, even if you do not take part in any kind of group content. Getting your sparks is super simple. There are two types of weekly quests you can complete to earn a splintered Spark of Dreams, and you need 2 splintered Spark of Dreams to create 1 Spark of Dreams, so you're earning 1/2 of a spark every time you complete these quests. The first quest you can do is a Worthy Ally Dream Wardens, which you can pick up in the new Emerald Dream Zone in the Central Encampment Hub after you complete the first little part of the new campaign. This one asks you to earn 1500 reputation with the Dream Wardens faction, which is pretty easy in the zone right now. The quest rewards you with a box of goodies, which includes some very nice gear rewards, as well as a Splintered Spark of Dreams. The other option that we had during Season 2 was the PvP weekly quests in the Valdrakken PvP building. The first one of these that you complete will give you a bag that should contain a Splintered Spark. If this is going to work how it did in Season 2, you can only get 1 Splintered Spark per week, so whichever weekly quest you complete first will be the source of your Splintered Spark for that week. So with 1 splintered spark per week and 2 splinters making up 1 whole spark, that means we can get 1 Spark of Dreams every 2 weeks. There's also a quest in the Central Encampment in the Emerald Dream that will grant you an extra splinter for your first week. That one comes from Moonberry, so be sure you pick up that, and you can get your very first Spark of Dreams right now, with each subsequent spark taking 2 weeks worth of quests. As long as you get those weekly quests done, you will never fall behind in splinters or sparks acquisitions. So we have our first spark. How do we turn that into a piece of gear? This is going to depend on whether or not you have a crafting profession. If you have a crafting profession, you can put your spark in the top reagent slot for an endgame crafting recipe. The slot is literally just called spark, and that's the only purpose for it. If a recipe does not have the spark slot, you can't use a spark with that recipe, so make sure the spark slot is there. The spark will instantly boost the item level of any crafted gear, and the item level is going to depend on the rank that you can craft the item at. The better your crafting ability, the higher the rank the result will be. With a Spark of Dreams, a rank 1 result is item level 450, and a rank 5 item is item level 463, so you will want to go after those rank 5 results to get the highest possible item level piece of gear for your spark. Now if you are new to Dragonflight or you haven't played in a while, I am going to be quite frank here. Crafting professions in Dragonflight require a lot of time and effort to unlock appropriate recipes and to be able to craft the higher rank and item level pieces. If you do not already have a crafting profession maxed out, I would have someone else craft this gear for you. Thankfully, the process of getting someone to craft this gear for you is very simple. Over in Valdrakken, you can find the crafting order clerks. They're right about here on your map near the crafting areas. Go talk to one of them and you can search for all the various crafting recipes you can ask other players to make for you. Find a piece of gear you want crafted, so if you want a weapon, just search for the kind of weapon you want, and then the epic recipes are typically the ones that you can use a spark for. For this example, I am going to look for a one-handed mace. The window shows you all of the materials you would need to get this item crafted, so we're going to plug in our spark, get the required materials from the auction house, and then we can create this work order. This is where people typically get a bit lost. You can change who will receive your order at the top right. A public work order will be available to anyone who is watching the order board, and they can craft it at any rank without your input. This is good if you want to get something crafted quickly and do not care about the resulting rank or item level. If you want the highest possible result, which for a Spark of Dreams by itself will be rank 5 or item level 463, you will need to either send a guild order or a private order so you can demand that rank 5 result. If you're in a guild with a lot of crafters, that could work out quite nicely for you, but if you're not, you're going to need to find someone to craft this privately. This is much easier than it sounds. Just ask in trade chat for someone who can craft the item you want at rank 5. You'll get a response within minutes, trust me. After you've found someone to do the crafting, just select private order, put their name in, and send it over to them. Wait for them to craft it, and you are all good to go. A brand new item level 463 piece of gear for you to equip. So do your weekly quests, combine your splinters into sparks and get some crafted gear. That's all you have to do to get easy item level 463 gear every 2 weeks. Remember that the PvP weekly quest might be another option for getting your weekly splinter, so if you think that's easier or something you would rather do, keep that in mind. Now, if you are worried about missing a week and losing out on a spark, don't sweat it. There are catch-up mechanics baked in right from the get-go, and it's super simple. If you miss a weekly quest and you get behind on your sparks, you should have a chance to get that missed splintered spark from a variety of content like raid bosses, Mythic Plus content, PvP wins, the new world boss, and maybe even weekly events in the new zone. So pretty much any max level content in the new patch. Splinters are only going to drop in this extra content while you are behind the current pace of splintered spark earnings, so as soon as you are caught up to everyone else, you will no longer be able to get splinters outside of the weekly quest. This does mean though that if you decide to swap characters later on in the patch, or you level up a new alt in several weeks, you won't be behind with your splinters for very long if you are doing endgame content. So no matter who you are or how you play, Sparks of Dream will give you access to item level 463 without really having to do anything besides getting those weekly quests completed and collecting your splinters every week. If you do that, you can craft a new piece of gear every 2 weeks that can be up to item level 463 baseline. Eventually, you can make a full set of gear without touching any kind of group content, and the various veteran gear rewards from the weekly quests in the new zone will help you get up to 463 super quickly. That's pretty good, especially for not doing any group content, but the real value of these sparks comes from the upgrade potential of crafted gear. This will require a bit more work, but it will be worth it in the long run, giving you access to up to item level 486 gear, which is really bonkers when you think about it. To upgrade your Season 3 crafted gear, you will need Enchanted Dreaming Crests. The two that we're interested in for this video are Enchanted Wyrm Dreaming Crest and Enchanted Aspect Dreaming Crest. These are made by an enchanter, so if you have enchanting and you have the recipe, you can make them for yourself, but if you don't, you're going to have to put in a work order just like you did for a piece of crafted gear. Pop on over to the crafting order clerk, search for Dreaming Crest, and pick whichever one you're wanting to get crafted. The main component for crafting both of these items are nascent crests, which might seem a bit weird, but they're actually super easy to get as long as you have some crests. Both of these items can be purchased from an enchanting supplier, like the one in the Valdrakken crafting area, and the nascent worm crest is just going to cost you 45 worm crests, while the nascent aspect crest will cost you 60 aspect crests. These items just let you condense your crests into an item you can use for crafting. You can get all of the other items from the auction house. So the main problem is going to be getting those worm crests and aspect crests, but the main sources of worm crests and aspect crests won't become available until next week, as they are tied to seasonal content. Worm crests are going to come from Mythic Plus 11 to 15 runs, as well as the raid on Heroic mode. If you're able to push your Mythic Plus keys that high, or you can kill bosses in Amirdrasil on Heroic, you can take those worm crests and craft them into an enchanted worm crest to upgrade your gear even further. And then the Aspect crests come from Mythic plus 16 and above, as well as the raid on Mythic difficulty. So this is typically for the higher end of PvE players, but if you can get your hands on Aspect crests, that will unlock the ability to upgrade your crafted gear all the way to 486, which is almost as high as we can go in the new season. Now previously, you would have to do this group content at the higher levels to get the higher tiers of crests to be able to upgrade your crafted gear, but that's not the case anymore. In Season 3 we have the ability to upgrade our crests, so you can turn Drake crests into Wyrm crests and then Wyrm crests into Aspect crests. The way this works is actually really simple. You need to get your item level up to the point where you can no longer upgrade your gear with a specific type of crest. So when all of your gear is a high enough item level that you can no longer upgrade it using Drake crests, you will be able to trade in your Drake crests for Wyrm crests to let you continue upgrading. It's hard to get a solid answer on this until next week, but if the upgrade track follows the same pattern as it did in Season 2, this means you will need to get 8 of 8 veteran or 4 of 8 champion gear, which is item level 463 for Season 3. You'll need that gear in every single slot, and then you should be allowed to trade Drake crests up for Wyrm crests. Get to the same breakpoint for Wyrm crests and you can go up to Aspect crests. So eventually, no matter who you are or what kind of content you take part in, as long as you keep earning crests and you can upgrade your gear far enough, you will have access to those higher tiers of crests, which will enable you to craft the spark upgrade items as well. It's just going to take you a bit longer versus the folks who run the Mythic Plus on high keys or do the raid. So that's everything you need to know about sparks, how they work, how to get them, and how everyone can eventually upgrade your crafted gear. The only thing left is, what should you craft? What should you get crafted? Are there any items or gear slots you should go for first? The answer to those questions will depend on your class and spec, but one of the first items most folks will go after is a weapon. Weapons provide you with some of the largest boosts you can get from a single item, and seeing as you can just keep upgrading crafted gear up to 486, it's not like you're going to replace a good weapon anytime soon. That's a pretty universal recommendation, but for anything past that, I would check out your class or spec guides on Wowhead, or in your class discords if they have crafted gear covered. Wowhead usually does a good job of having a list of what to craft in order, so that should be easy to follow along with. Remember, we get 1 spark every 2 weeks, so you'll be able to craft a new piece of gear every 2 weeks if you keep up with your weekly quests. But that's everything you should need to fully understand Sparks of Dream and why they are so valuable. What items are you going to craft first, and how do you feel about the crest changes that allow everyone to eventually get Wyrm and Aspect crests? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and for all our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you'd like to add your name to the end of every video with a special shout out at the start of the next video, you can find links in the description over to Patreon or click the join button just below this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.